All right. Let's fire him up. Ludicrous, Fast and Furious, one of my favorite movies. Let's go. Coming back to myself more so now than ever before. And let me tell you why. Let me tell you how. And this journey and podcast is a solo one. So get ready to hear more of these in the future. This one is specifically regarding the ayahuasca journey that I went on here a few weeks ago. Some life changing events that took place, blessings. And this is what the podcast is about. And I want to start this off by saying, even though this has made a major impact in my life, this is no shape or form or way that I am saying, hey, go out and do it. We all have our different ways. We all have our different paths of healing, of connection, source, God, whatever it may be, insights, wisdom. This is one that is true to me. So, when going into any type of ayahuasca journey, the man that I'm working with and the intention that is being set there is a mix, but is deeply rooted in the Santo Daime church in Brazil. And when the Christians came there and found the indigenous people, and they were connecting to ayahuasca, and then they saw all these different ways that they were presumably preparing for this ayahuasca ceremony. Like they were not eating salt or eating meat, eating XYZ, or sleeping with each other. Some of this may be explained, as I've heard that, well, they didn't see this, or salt was not something that you ate. Meat was not necessarily a resource that you had on a regular basis, or you didn't see people having sex necessarily out in the open. But that's neither here nor there. The purpose of this, me saying this, is I've done this enough times now, 6, 7 times, that my body, my spirit, my soul knows that I'm devoted to this path. So the journey starts weeks before. And I played around with, okay, well, is this meat? Is this 1 week before? Is it all the way up until? Because when I go straight vegetarian or vegan, I start withering away and I start losing connection. And due to the sensitivities that I have, like gluten, dairy, nightshades, there's a host of other ones, eggs, very much on an AIP schedule, so anti-inflammatory protocol. So if I don't follow that, and if I don't get very clean sources of organic produce or meat or chicken or fish, then my body starts revolting. But here's the thing. All of these different foods have energy associated with them, like antennas. They give off very strong energy. So, for example, sugar. I don't eat sugar. I stay away from a lot of sweet stuff overall. Don't really eat any grains. Maybe could be considered it, but for me, I process it well. But sugar specifically, meat specifically, has very strong energy, which will intervene and interfere with. If you used to look at it as radio signals, tuning in to the energy vibration that wants to come through during ayahuasca, like the connection with nature, the connection with God, the connection with, let's say, your inner child, or it may be spirits, may it be deities, whoever wants to come through, ancestors. This journey, I was going to try to eat meat almost all the way up until, because I thought that was going to make me feel better. I was guided to not, to stop. I was having physical ailments, stomach ache, feeling tired, sluggish, slow. And I was just knew, I felt that I needed to just go with fish and chicken and then vegetables. And that's what I did up until the day before, and then, or the day of, and vegetarian that day. And has worked for me like a charm. And The first ceremony was very much about what I'm experiencing with neighbors, both neighbors on our side where we live, both are have men that are on their second marriage. They are with younger women in the relationship, and they've had already a relationship before that, and they have children with another woman before that. And currently, we are trying to have another child, and we have not been able to, my wife and I. And it is interesting what I thought and what I've been experiencing happening is I've been over the last 2 years being guided as like going into, is this the relationship that I want to be in? And that's been healing in itself and leaning into that, speaking a lot of truth. And we really have spoken a lot of truth and coming closer and closer and closer. But it's been some very tough moments in that too. But lately, there's been a lot more before the journey looking and being drawn to other women, especially younger women. And I never experienced anything like this during our entire relationship. And I'm, what is this about? What's happening? And I'm speaking to my wife about it, and it's positive because we have a very, very honest dialogue, but it's also creating, right? This is just too much. There's too much of this. And in the journey, it showed me what has come to me before that slightly too. Well, what will happen if she's no longer fertile? What if happens if we can't have another child and I want to have another child? What is this, a biological need of mine? And for me to seek after younger women who are more fertile to pass on my lineage in a new way? And the full circle here comes with patriarchy, hierarchy of the male dominated society and staying in power for such a long time. Men have historically been in power for quite some time, and women have been looking to men for financial stability, security, for their children to be safe. And I thought, oh, well, that's a bunch of bullshit. That's in the past. That's old. That's no longer relevant. I got turned on to this book by a few different people, Aubrey Marcus being one, which is some people are saying that it's more about having an open relationship, but this is a study and a history of sexual relationships, which the book is called Sex at Dawn. And they specifically go into, one of the parts is women are attractive to, have you ever wondered why a woman is attracted to maybe a man that is not good looking at all, is not charismatic, but drives a sports car and clearly has a lot of money, wears a Rolex, yada, yada, yada. I'm like, yeah, right. I got turned off by the book. I'm like, this is too old. I can't listen to this anymore. But in this journey, it showed to me so clearly that what's happening possibly right next to me on both sides is there's financial stability and freedom in a woman who goes after an older man, because inherently, for so long, so many women have done this, given away their power and left what truly they desire in their life, what's important in their life, because it's so subconsciously conditioned in their cells and also in their minds. This is how a woman behaves. So seeking after that stability, older man, that security, and then you don't know how long it will be for, but the women have historically squeezed everything they can out of that man historically, financially, and then the man goes on to the next. This saying is the man wants to remain in power and continue his legacy by spreading his seed as many times as possible. So it's like a transaction. The woman gets financial stability because the women couldn't get the financial stability, let's say 100, 200 years ago. on their own because there simply wasn't a market for women actually working. So men had the power. Now, in today's Western society, it looks way different. But historically, we're still moving through this generational and energetic shift and change. So, being around this, obviously, anything that you're around, closest people to you, what you're listening to, what you're watching, what you're surrounding yourself with, you're going to be influenced by. So, of course, I'm influenced by around me are two families with older men. Both men have looked into another family to plant their seeds again, to spread their legacy again. What am I surrounded with? And as many times I've noticed what I'm being led to do, higher power, God, showing me this is your path to clear, to move through, to test you. Let's do this. It's happened with my father. He couldn't have more children. The second relationship he had after my mother, or whatever might have happened. It stopped there. But with me, it stops with me consciously making the decision of no more. But deeply, deeply realizing that I choose you, Sophia. I choose you, my wife, regardless if you can have children or not. I choose you. I choose you and no one else. Because what we have, yeah, what we have, and what we'll continue to have. And if that means another child, if that does not mean another child, we have what we have. We have a beautiful family. And this old legacy, this old generation, this old patriarchy stops right here. No more. Ends with me. Ends with my lineage and what I decide to do and what we decide to do together. No more. And that as a representation, what I've been led to do many times is to remove my ring, my wedding ring. If you're watching the video, I'm no longer wearing a wedding ring. To remove my wedding ring during every ceremony because what it represents is such a deep character, facade, box of what is a husband, what is a wife. And I've used Sophia so many years for protection. And this is the theme going into ceremony number 2. Taking off the ring to let down my guard. Have my guardian step to the side for me to experience what I'm about to tell you right now. And it came back to knowing your priorities. And my priority was to really, really find out why am I so incredibly afraid when I'm intimate with my wife? Why am I scared, shitless, and shivering and leaving my body and pre-ejaculating? Why is that happening? All the other things in my life I can control, but when it comes to intimacy, when I'm opening up my heart to the person I love the very most, I shut down. And I go into trauma response. Many, many things have led me down this path. Many, many steps have taken me to this exact moment. It was full moon, and I was ready to meet my maker. And calling in the divine feminine, the divine masculine, the showing there, one of the facilitators, the wife, the man who leads it, was not part of the first night, but had chose her number one priority, even though she wanted to be up there, but her daughter who was downstairs and needed her. And I reflected back to her, it's like, thank you. Thank you for showing me and us what a true mother is. That regardless of her desires, is she chooses the number one priority. She chooses her child. And for my little boy to experience that, for her to open up, the man who leads this, it helped me surrender. It helped me step into the divine feminine in a greater degree than I've ever had. Mother Mary was so present. Mother Mary has been so present with me for the last few years. And I was shown that when I was 2 years old, when I was in Tunisia with my parents, I ran into a glass wall and my forehead got cut up, was bleeding everywhere. And two men came and grabbed me. They realized the severity of the situation. I felt that I remembered it was more men. They put me in a cab and drove away my parents, as they said, running after, not being able to get in the cab or do anything. They jumped into a cab afterwards. And then I realized and was shown how one of these men, with all this fury and this rage of what white men have done to the Muslims, to the Arabic people of Northern Africa, of Tunisia, the colonization, which I've been reading about and being led to read about, how that's impacted so much of the world and so much, even I have a responsibility in that, with being of that lineage of the white man, of the European man, having German descent, of all of this. I am part of this indirectly, whether I like it or not, my lineage, my DNA. And all of that rage, it's like he became a demon, one of these men, and violent. Decided to sexually abuse me and imprint all this fury of what the white men have done. I'm going to give back to you, and let me unleash it. And to experience this, with so many things, devastating, relieving. I've never cried that deeply and that hard ever in my life, for hours. And being shown an understanding of why I've been so dissociated in my life, how my little boy died at that moment. I mourned the death of my little boy. I mourned the death of most of my life, and also celebrated I'm still alive. I'm still fucking alive. By God's grace, I'm still alive. I'm here. I'm now. I couldn't have done it. God, God's grace, and feel God's grace pour over me. To just know, like, all of this is meant to be, is supposed to be for you to be here right now. right here. By 2 weeks before having gone in London, seeing a bunch of Muslims on the street at 11 o'clock at night, seeing a mosque and going into a mosque for the first time ever in my life, being curious and looking around and finding myself praying with all these Muslim men. All was getting me to that point. To that point, to reveal, to find out. God is all, Allah, Buddha, Krishna, Rama, whatever name, Mother Mary, Isis, Hathor, whatever name, many forms, many different names, Mother Earth, Cosmos, Universe. I'm back. I brought my little boy back. With epilepsy and all that he has experienced, brought him back. Like in the scene of Avatar 2, when they bring back Natayam to Mother Earth, the Great Mother. Nothing is ever lost. This goes back to the Great Mother. Me to bring my little boy back. And to now know that I'm here now. As your father. As your brother. I'm here. I'm here now. I'm weeping so deeply. For all the time that I've lost in my life. I haven't felt my emotions in my life. Disassociated in my life. Being checked out. Being present. All came down to this moment. And the amount of relief that brought. The serenity that brought. It's beyond words. No fucking fight. Back. After all these years. For my wife to so bravely having shown the way. Thank you, God. Thank you, my wife. Thank you, my daughter. Thank you, my wife's family. Thank you, my family. Like, we're here. I'm fucking here. I'm still here. I didn't die. All the times I wanted it, I didn't die. Still here. Still here. Grace of God. Still here. And to know that I'll never be abused again. By doing judo, by doing Brazilian jiu-jitsu, I'm gonna fucking get it. No fucking man ever again. Not my fucking family, not my fucking father, no fucking man, not my fucking brother-in-law, not my brother, no fucking bigger man, no man. No woman. By the grace of God, no. Never again. And for me to share this story, whatever that may bring to anyone else, mainly for myself, is to get this out. to to explain my deep belief in God. They say that people have near to death experiences become highly, highly trusting in God. Yeah, I'm one of them. Because I wouldn't be here. I would not be here by the grace of God. That was for the grace of God. Still fucking here, still fucking alive. And to bring it back to the first episode when I mourned so deeply, and when our cat died, Sage, it felt like I lost the sun. Because that was the first damn sign that it was my own son. It was me. It was little Sebastian that I was mourning, and I was deeply weeping for weeks, for months. And I lost him all these years, step by step, breadcrumb by breadcrumb, led me to this place. And when Stephen committed suicide, my mentor, I knew that could have been me. That could have been me. By the grace of God, by the grace of Sophia and Athena. Why the podcast is named Safina. It's an honor to them. It's an honor to higher being. I can't do this alone. Podcast is not about me, it's about God. It's about this journey that we're all on, and I'm just a damn messenger in this journey. It made that message come through me and my experiences and whatever I experiences, but we're going through a revolution, a change. No longer will we do what the old generation has done and keep all this shit inside. It's brought to the surface. Hallelujah. Being brought back to the days of Oklahoma. Some very fond memories. Shout out to Bird. My black brother, African American brothers. I love that. Love that culture. The raw culture, connection to God, and the times we had in church. Thank you, Bird. Thank you deeply, Bird. And I saw a card just like his the other day that reminded me of this. It reminded me of that connection that we built. God is not a religion. It's not a church. It's not prayer. That divine connection that you feel in your heart. In those sacred moments, they may be different for everyone. That, how do we cultivate that? That deep connection, that deep knowing, that deep honoring. Bring them back to honoring to the women. Empowering the women and empowering the men for that sake too. And there's a bunch of shit that men have done, but let's fucking elevate men. Because we all need each other. We're all here for each other. To acknowledge all this shit and it continues to happen. That are being led and done by men. Hell yeah. But not for me, as I've done for so many years, take on that fucking trauma and put myself in the dirt, because that's where I got them belong, because all this shit that has happened with men for so many damn years. Yes, acknowledge it, feel that fucking pain. I'm still conditioned in these old patriarchal ways, still working through it. Acknowledging that, but knowing I am damn amazing as a man too. And for there to be masculine and the feminine, just like in the yin and the yang, the light and the dark, for the world to be, for God to be, for the earth to be. Life and death, they both need each other. 'Cause men and women need each other for life to be. So let's honor each other for that. And honor our path for that. Let's heal. Heal together. Just want to thank you for tuning in. Can relate. A few resources that you want to check out, might want to check out. Peter Levine, Waking the Tiger. Body Keeps the Score by Russell Vanderkolk, something like that. Might get the name wrong. Healing comes back to nature. Healing comes back to the body. Healing comes back to trusting. You're not going to figure it out by your mind. I damn tried. I still tried to do it. It's not going to get you there. Avatar 2, Rising of the Family. And we're making a goddamn stands right where I'm from. Right here in Sweden. No more little boy. The man is here to come. King is here to reign. My kingdom now, not what my father used to do. Not what the old generation used to do. Not what my mother used to do or what, how she wanted to keep me as the little boy or surrogate husband or whatever. You may say what you want. Energy can be perceived in many different ways, but I'm no longer someone that people want. And may I speak this out now, tell the universe now, I am me. I'm here to be free. For the goddamn wild man, honorable man, and the king that I am. If anyone ever talks to me, please hold me accountable to that too. As Jake Sully, Avatar 2, as Aragorn, Lord of the Rings, as Leto in Dune. May the king rise. May the queens rise. May we all rise. Aonam.